Hi, everybody. I'm Amy,
And I'm Audrea.
and this is the right crowd. So grab a cup of coffee,
Or a cup of tea.
maybe a little something on the rocks, and let's get started. Okay, so before we get started, I want to say, what are you doing?
I tried not to drink after I said cup of
You
tea.
couldn't. You couldn't. I don't know why you tried.
Okay.
Notice I didn't because I knew it wasn't going to happen.
I hope you guys are used to this. You can subscribe if you want more of this nonsense. Today on The Right Crowd, we are talking about conference prep. It is conference
Yay!
season. And when I say conference season, writers' conferences and readers' conferences, book signings are happening when the weather gets warm. They happen. And there's some in the winter, I believe. There's some in the winter, like in Florida, where you are. They have
We
right.
don't have winter.
Yeah. Anyway, for the rest of us, we plan to go to conferences when the weather is better and traveling is safe and things like that. Or NEFs. So today we are talking about preparing for your first conference or your next conference. Just
Yes.
some reminders of what to plan for and take with you to make your conference smoother. All right. So I have a top 10 things that I have packed this box. Oh,
Audrey is like super excited about this one. She's like
yeah,
ready. I don't know if she's going to let me get any words in.
I will. This is my conference. I buy a little bit box.
That is so cute. I have the ones that are like 50 times bigger than that.
Oh, yeah, I have a couple of those, but this one is just, I happen to have it around because I'm purging and I thought I'd use this one so that, because I inevitably, even though I plan for each conference and I plan outfits, how many days is it going to be, and how many, I mean, when you are planning travel, you are planning whatever you're going to need on your travel, your medications, your ID and clothing and all that stuff. And I plan to go when I go to a conference to have certain things for a writer's conference, certain things for a reader's conference. I don't go to as many readers' conferences. Sometimes I go to hybrids where they are reader and writers together.
For as much as I read, I should go to readers' conferences, but I don't. I'm too much of an introvert to go to a readers' conference.
They are so fun just to listen to authors as a reader, to listen to authors talk about their characters and how they came up with these characters. And they're not trying to tell you how to write something, they're telling you about their book and their next book. And you get like Easter eggs if you're there sometimes, and then they'll sign the book. If you want, you don't have to have your book signed. There are many people who don't, they might get the book at the conference, but they don't have it signed. There are some people who get stacks of books at the conference and they try to get them all signed. And then you know that they are not keeping all those books. Some of those books are going to appear for sale somewhere. But for us true readers and true fans, sometimes it's fun to have an author that you admire sign your book. Or if you've had an actual interaction, then you can remember that. Like when I had an interaction with, I believe it was one of the mystery authors. And she and I had a really good conversation in between sessions. And then when she signed my book, she mentioned it was more personal. Let's
That's
talk
the
about.
only time, I think that's the only time I ever have someone sign a book for me is if we've actually had an
Yeah.
interaction. Like 20 books. I actually talked to Mark Cameron for 15, 20 minutes. And I bought a book and he signed it for me. And he referenced what we talked about
Yeah.
but I'm not generally one of those people that will go somewhere to have someone sign, or I'll take the stack to all the different authors. I am not that person. But if I've talked to them and interacted with them, or there's this one where I buy the book and they're like, "Would you like me to sign it?" And
Yeah.
I'll be like, "No, I'm good." But they're excited to have someone that
I
wants. So
know.
then I'll
Yeah.
be like, "Oh yes, please sign my book. I'm be happy for you to sign my book." So yeah, there's that one too,
Yes.
where I have books that are signed that could I couldn't even tell you what the person looked like because they were so excited to sign the book that I let them sign the book.
And that's very nice of you because it's sometimes cool to be, it's a lifelong dream for many people to become an author. And they think part of that is book signings because we see it in movies and we read it in books. The author is at a book signing. It's a thing. And so
Hello, Hallmark movie. Like
exactly. All right. So yeah, and that's
Okay, now I'll be
what a
quiet.
lot of mine signed is that the person is there. I'll sign it for you. I'm like, okay,
That's exactly what I was here for. Here,
good
please.
for you. But thank you. And thank you to all the authors who do book signings and are willing to sign books. Thank
Yeah.
you very much. That is not because it's a lot of time. And sometimes I've heard from authors who have big backlists and lots of books. It's a lot of work and expense to get your books. Either you're bringing them in a big old carry-on if you're driving, or you're shipping them, or and it's expensive to ship them to the signing and do all that work and to be there and to be friendly and have the capacity to engage and offer to sign. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I saw a video of Brandon Sanderson after he did his big Kickstarter where he like set records.
Uh-huh.
And it was a video. One of the things he did as part of his Kickstarter is he was signing books, right? He was going to send everybody, and he had a gazillion books to sign. And it was a video of he's like a table, and it's these stacks of this book, right? And he's standing between two people, and the person on the right was holding the book he was signing. And as they pulled it away, the person on the left put the next book in front of them. And as they pulled it away, the guy, and he just stood there and signed and just signed.
Yeah.
And that's the only way he could get through all the books, is to have people moving the books for him.
In a
Because
simple
I
line.
mean, if you have to open it, get to the right page, sign it, close it, put it away, grab the next book,
Yes.
find the right page, sign it. So instead, he was just signing, and the person would grab it, get it ready, put it down, grab it, get it ready, put it down. That's, yeah. So I appreciate when they want to do it. I'm just not the
Yeah.
person that they're signing it for.
Not always. Sometimes when I do want this, like I went to the conference, I went to VoucherCon, and that is a combo conference that is for readers and writers of mysteries and thrillers. And it's a great one, and they go to different locations all the time. And Charlene Harris was there, and I am such a fan.
I was gonna say, you love Charlene Harris.
Yes, I embarrassed myself, and I apologize to this day, Charlene. I did not mean to come across as a stalker. I'm just gonna say that. And also to you, Mr. Coben, I was not following you at the conference. I just happened to be in the same.
That's not what you told me.
Stop it! I was not. I am a happily married woman. Not trying to follow anybody, but it was just awkward.
This goes to the fact that I said we do a video on how to be a stalker.
Don't do it. That is actually one of my top. I've got a list of things not to do when you go to a conference. Do not stalk your favorite author or anyone. Do not stalk. Okay.
Or be careful to appear like you're not stalking if you are stalking.
Yeah.
So they don't know that you're
It was
stalking.
more of a coincidence and appearance for Harlan. For Charlene, I'm
As long as you stick to your truth. As long as you stick to your
no, the funny part when I went up to get her to sign my book, there was a line, and there's usually a line. I just wanted to tell her how much I enjoyed her books. I read the books. I read 2 of her series, and I've reread. She writes for those of you who don't know, she writes the Sookie Stackhouse mysteries, and they are vampire mysteries. And it became a HBO TV show called True Blood. So I had read the books before they did the series.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. And she's does another one that is on Hallmark now called oh gosh, what is the other one called?
How do you go from True Blood to Hallmark?
Girl, that's some range.
It's awesome.
When I got up to talk to her, I had fangirl. I had full on fangirl out, and I could not form syllables into words. So I was like, hello, hello. Like
I wish I could have recorded that.
Oh my God. I'm a college educated woman. I speak in front of people for my job. I'm intellectual and intelligent and stuff. And I couldn't speak to her. Oh my gosh. Aurora Teagarden. That's the one. I looked it up. Just looked it up. Aurora Teagarden. She's written lots of series. But anyway. All right. So things you want to prepare, and remember, maybe make a checklist, and we'll supply you with a checklist. There'll be a link to that in our show notes that you can add to. But I always, even though at most writers' conferences, they're going to give you a notebook, I always take extra notebooks because it is my worst fear to want to write something memorable down and I don't have paper or you have to use the hotel pads they provide in the conference room. I like these Moleskines and some people say Moleskines. I like Moleskines and I like traveler's notebooks in various sizes. This is my favorite one. It is just a standard or a wide traveler's notebook. And in the traveler's notebook, I'm not trying to sell you guys a traveler's notebook, but when I go to conferences, you might see me with a big leather bound book and you can insert the smaller notebooks, the Moleskines in here. I have it in here with 2 notebooks and a calendar. I'm now keeping my calendar inside my traveler's notebook. So that is one of the things you always want to take. If you've been to the same conference over and over again and you know they're going to give you a notebook and you're going to use that notebook, then it's on you. I like to be prepared because for many people going to these conferences, even if you're driving, they can be expensive to pay the entry fee. The conference fee can be expensive. And if you have to fly, as I do most of the time, that adds extra expense. And then if you're flying, then you have the expense of your accommodations. So they can be a little pricey to go to. So I do not want to ever get to a conference and have to buy big pens at a hotel for $7 each or something like that. That's why I planned just in case, little Girl Scout, just be prepared with an extra notebook just in case. And then speaking of notebooks, I also take my favorite pens. They're usually going to have pens at especially a writer's conference and sometimes a reader's conference. But if you've watched the channel before, there's Amy with her.
I just take my whole pen pouch.
Her pin caddy. And I have one similar to one of the other ones you shared before.
This isn't the one that I take. This is just the one that happens to be on this desk.
That's pretty. But yeah, I have pen pouches, and in my pen pouch, there are regular favorite pens. I have a couple of favorite models. And if you guys have watched our channel, we've talked about pens and planners and things before. Inner gels, I like those. The Sharpie, I like the Sharpie pen now. It's a gel. And then ballpoints, I'll have a ballpoint because sometimes I like the gels that don't smear. Yes, those are awesome. What are those called? Those are the
Papermate Enjoy.
Inkjoy.
Yep.
In 07. And then
Yep.
I take with me, and I learned this from an old friend who always wanted to be prepared for autographs because very frequently he would run into people that he admired and he was an autograph collector. So he never wanted them to have to look for a pen. He always carried his own Sharpies in fine tip so that if he asked for an autograph that he could get it. And then I have Sharpies. You can have Sharpies in the regular. This is a fine ultra fine point, but I carry those with me too, just in case. So pins,
Also
highlighters. Yes. Highlighters. And also, if you're taking notes, I also, you know what, you guys, if you don't know it now, I'm gonna tell you, this is gonna come
we have a problem.
I'm a big nerd. So I have like page tabs, like so I can get back to the page that I was on that day and other ways to mark a page, like for insight or just to remember to go back there or to share with somebody else.
I bought these at an airport bookstore.
I've got those too. They're very cool. These are the Bookaroo sticky tabs, and they're very nice. And you can, they've made it so that you can say what color is, if you're going to use the same color for all the same thing. In work, I might do that. But so tabs, these are light, fit in your suitcase or your backpack or whatever, and they don't take up a lot of room. Those are basic things. Also, I'll leave that for later, but I usually take a water bottle with me when I travel. Usually at these conferences, they're going to have a big old water machine or something like that you can use paper cups. They'll have cups there to get the water. I just like to have a full jug of water and know how much water I've drunk through the day. So going through the airport, it has to be empty. But then when I get on the other side of the security, I will buy a bottle of water and fill this up. And then I do not have to wait for the flight attendant to come by and either give me, or sometimes on some airlines that I travel on, sell me water. I would like a glass of water. That'll be $6. Okay. I just want a little. Okay.
But am I getting 2 cases?
So yeah. And not that water past the in an airport water is expensive, just because that's the nature of commerce. But I will take that so I can have water with me. And also I usually work out when I'm going places, and I like to have a bottle of water with me for my workouts. So that's something that you'll want to take. Now, for those of you who are hardcore, you might also prepare to take with you not just a water bottle, or maybe instead of a water bottle, you will take a thermal carafe or cup, which comes in handy because I can then make my tea and steep it. Because if you're a tea drinker, are you with me? They do not provide a steeping mechanism for the tea.
No tea drinkers in here.
For those of you who are in our audience, a thermal cup is nice. This one is from 20 bucks to 50K, but you can use this for water and all of your beverages, coffee, tea, or whatevs. So I will do that sometimes. And also, I'm doing all the talking. I should let you. What are your top things to take?
I will just say that I made a list, and I will just comment as you comment on the same things would have commented.
Okay.
I too take a notebook. However, I have a conference notebook that I take, and conference notes for all the conferences go in that notebook, so that I don't have 50 half written in notebooks. So I have a conference notebook that all the conference notes go in. And then when it's full, I find another notebook that is similar to that one. And that's what I do. This last year, I forgot my conference notebook. So someone had made a 20 books to 50K conference notebook that I actually ended up using. But generally speaking, I have a conference notebook that goes with me to all my conferences. I showed you my pen pouch, which I always have with me. As far as the cup, I do have a thermal that I take. I also have a mug that I take that's for my water. And what I do in the morning before the conference, I fill it up with ice. And then when I get to the conference area, I fill it up with their water jug that's in the room. I fill it up, and then I just keep it full during the day. But they stay packed in my checked luggage. I don't have it on the plane with me because the airlines I fly at do not charge me for water. So
Amy's fancy.
I'm just saying. Actually, you know what I did do this last time? I don't remember which flight it was, but the upgrade to first class was like $30 more. Can I just tell you how nice that was?
Oh my gosh.
There were 2 people in the same space that the back of the plane had 3. If my next flight hadn't have been $150 for that upgrade, I would have. Yeah. But I was like, $30 for that seat? I'll do an upgrade. As far as your tea situation, so this is not something that I have done because I'll just go down to the coffee shop that's in the hotel or down the road and get a coffee. This is not me. However, there are people who they will go and get a water kettle, not a glass one, but they make collapsible water kettles that you can use. Do you have one? Is that what you're reaching for?
Oops, how do I put it on? Yep, there.
Okay, so collapsible water kettle, because a lot of rooms now do not have coffee pots.
Yeah.
They don't do 1 cup, they don't do nothing. So they'll bring a water kettle and they'll bring instant coffee. But they'll bring instant coffee so that they don't have to bring a coffee pot. Now, I've also known people to bring the water kettle and the French press.
Oh yeah.
Instead of instant. I've only ever seen a glass French press, so I'm guessing that they make non-glass French presses. I don't know. But that would be something that if you're that person that needs to have I had my first cup of coffee like 4 hours after I got up this morning. I don't need coffee to be this active. I don't need coffee. I like the flavor of coffee. That's why I drink coffee. I like the hot and the flavor of my creamer and good coffee. I don't need it though. So I'm not that person. But if you're the person that needs it in your room every morning, or you want to make your hot tea or a facial, because that looks like you could probably do a facial. Doesn't that look like you could do a facial?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
I just got it,
Um,
not used it yet. But
so
someone,
yeah, so that's something that I would have put on there. For me, the next thing would be when you're packing, if you're the person like we are that buys books at these conferences or whatever, because this could be a conference prep for any kind of conference. It doesn't have to be what we're doing. You might want to consider how you pack your bag so that you have extra space and weight for added books. So what I did this last time is I had my regular suitcase. I don't normally bring a carry-on, but I also brought a carry-on. They're both not as fully packed as they would have been. And then also in the carry-on, I had my shoulder, like regular bag that I just take with me with my notebook and all my stuff in it for the conference. It's also packed away. So when I go to leave, I put all my stuff in my suitcase, send my suitcase to the plane, but then in my carry-on, I have all my heavy books so that it's not taking up the weight and space of my suitcase, but I've also left myself room to buy the books and I don't have to worry about I'm going to pay 50 gazillion dollars to get this $10 book home.
Yeah.
So that's something that I do is I bring a bag that is separate from my carry-on for the conference. And I've learned that I need a bag that opens in the top. So I don't have to constantly unzip and zip to get what I need, but it opens in the top. Mine is a vegan leather. I have a problem with some of my words. So give me a second. Archer and olive. I went through speech therapy as a kid for my R's, SH's, TH's, and CH's, and still sometimes they call me some problems. So there's that. So I have a vegan leather Archer and olive bag. That is my go-to bag whenever I am at a conference. And what's cool is that everyone's, oh my gosh, is that the Archer and olive? I'm like, yes, it is.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Bonding over bag. What would you like to add?
Okay, so I always carry an extra one just for, I am high input for anybody who knows about strengths. And so I'm always picking up the little things and bookmarks and things like that.
She picks up all the things. I can attest to this.
Yes.
I've walked around a conference hall with her. She picks up all the things.
Bookmarks and things. The ones that I like, those authors I like, I've had them sign a bookmark just because it was more fun and I could move it from book to book and book. But yeah, I do pick up the bookmarks, the business cards in case there's a writer's service that I want, or there's an author I want to remember them. And these days people are all digital and they're like, you can use my QR code, and they'll show you, they'll have a QR code on their bag, or they'll show it to you so you can take a picture of it or use it to get to their website or whatever. Linktree. So that is something that is a good idea to take if you are an author going for a signing or trying to build awareness with that group. If it's a mystery group, you might take a handful of bookmarks or a handful of postcards about your series or something like that to leave on a table. Because you have to remember that if you're going to, I go to a lot of genre specific, but also general writing conferences, but writers are also readers. You're not trying to, don't try to sell your book to another writer at an author conference, but there will often be a table where you can leave bookmarks or something there. And so I use an extra bag, or I usually travel with a backpack, a rolling backpack for these things. And one of the conferences that I went to, it was Left Coast Crime, and it is a reader-writer combo kind of conference. And Kensington Books use that as their one of their cozy mystery tour stops or something. So Kensington Books was there with, and they were just giving away books. Just, you can have first in series, or you can have 3 books from this author or whatever. So they were giving those. It was very difficult for me as high input and a reader of cozy mysteries with not very much room in my luggage to not pick up all the books. But yeah, it can happen. So when it comes to picking up books, if I'm going to a reader's conference, or I expect to pick up books, I'll do what Amy does and leave room in my luggage. But I will also, just because I know by experience, I will also print some address labels, or that's what the Sharpie is for sometimes, to write my address, name and address on a box, and slap that label on a box that I'll find in the hotel. They will often be tossing boxes at a book in the book room. They were getting rid of them as they sell them. I'll take one of those boxes and put all the books that I've collected that week, either given to me free or I purchased because I want that book. I'll put those in the box, slap my label on there, and you do have to figure out how to post it. But some of the little Left Coast Crime actually had someone from a post office place come and weigh your books, and you could send them off there. I usually try and make sure I have a way to get it to the US post office, because you can do media mail. And so for a big old box full of books, that you can ship it off for about $12 or $15, depending on how big and how much it weighs. But and you can only put books in there. You can put books and bookmarks, but you cannot put clothing or a cup or anything. It has to only be books in the media mail. And I have often used media mail to get my books back in that way. I don't have to lug them through the airport, and it's worth it, because even if it was 20 books, that's how much sometimes a hardback costs. So then I get a box full of books and I have some explaining to do to my husband. It's like, more for the TBR pile. Well, I read them. So that's one of the things. Oh, I did want to say about the collapsible. I have never had a collapsible kettle before, but I was at a conference and I couldn't get a good cup of tea. Sometimes you just want some tea. But the person who recommended this to me, she does pour over coffee, which is a great idea. There's a little, if you guys Google it, pour over coffee. There's a little plastic, you can get it in plastic, stainless steel or whatever, and some of them are collapsible. And you put that in there with a filter with your coffee grounds, and you just pour the coffee over there, and it's like French press, but anyway, she used that for her pour over, which she did in a room before she went down to the conference. So I said, you know what? I can use that to make a cup of tea as I relax in my room. Because even if, as Amy said, they don't often have coffee pots anymore, but even if they do, they are coffee pots. And if you're a tea drinker and you're trying to make tea in one of those, even if they supply you the tea bags, it often winds up tasting like chamomile coffee. It is gross. Your tea winds up tasting like coffee, and it's just gross. So I did buy this, and I probably won't take it to every conference, but it'll be nice for the long ones where I just want tea. And I often take my own tea bags because they will only ever have either English breakfast or Earl Grey. And I like certain teas. I will drink almost any tea, but I am a little bit of a tea snob because, yeah, there's good teas, there's bad teas. There's overstewed teas. There's teas not steeped well enough or long enough because you didn't have anything to cover it to steep it. And it tastes just like hot brown water. So
Okay.
I like a good tea, and I like a good tea done well. I also carry this. Is doubles as sometimes my pen case, where I put all my highlighters and all the things in there. But sometimes I use it for, this one is my first aid. So I have Band-Aids and things like aspirin and ibuprofen, because sometimes you're in these conferences all day long and you get a headache and it will cost you $5 for 2 ibuprofen. So that's one of the things I always carry is ibuprofen or painkiller, whatever you use, just in case, and a little bit of first aid stuff. And this one is fun because I usually go to murder mystery conference. That's a fun bag. And then the other thing I will take with me is, please and thank you, some mints or gum. Please and thank you. Always have some mints with you.
If anyone ever offers you a mint, just say thank you
Yes.
and take it.
Just
They're trying to be polite.
Let's see. Oh, I wanted to talk about stuff you get at the conference. Some other things you can take. So this is the lanyard from the 20 books to 50K. Now it comes just, I went to a couple of them. So this one is blank. You can see this one is just a lanyard. And this is the killer Nashville conference thing. And it has in it a pocket for business cards or your tickets for a meal if you're going to do that, or pens, which is handy. You can have them right there handy for you. But at some conferences, even if you're an introvert, you want to just have your bling and say who you are. So this one has a couple of pens that they have there. This one is for cozy mysteries, pantser. Are you a pantser or plotter? And so I have those. When I go to the next conference, I will take them off this lanyard and put them on that new lanyard. And then they are starting to do this thing where they have ribbons to say what kind of author you are, or just to help express what you do. This one is fun. Keep clam and proofread. Keep calm. Get it? So even if you're an introvert like I am, it's nice to just have that on there. And then I'll look around for another cozy mystery author. And if I can work up the nerve, I'll go, oh, you write cozies too? What do you write? So that is just a little bit about what you get when you get there. So I always have some, for me, I like to have the bling or the accessories for my lanyard. Here's an example of portable Motrin or pain reliever. That's what I take. And here's another thing that I try to remember to take, although I was going to say it's not as important these days, but it actually is. This is a charger for the phone, because sometimes you'll sit in these conferences all day long and then there won't be that many cords because of or not cords, plugins, because of the way the room is set up, or someone has got their computer plugged into it, or it's way over there and you don't want to go sit next to it or leave your phone unattended. So I will take a portable charger with me so that
Make sure it's charged.
yeah. Yes, charge it in the room or before you get on the plane, and then make sure it's charged every day if you're going for a multi-day conference. So those are some of the things I take. I did mention the business cards. I think those are, if you are going to a reader conference for your genre as an author who's going to do signings, there are all kinds of things that you should plan on taking. I heard a list from a bunch of other authors in a room. I will list those or link to that list, but they include your bookmarks or whatever your swag is you're giving away with your book, if you're taking your books, and a QR code to get to your site so you can order a pre-order,
Right.
then get whatever the bonus thing is there. Anything else that you wanted to add?
I have a couple things on my list. One of them is earplugs. Sometimes some of you probably never even used earplugs, and I've only used them for the last 2 years, and I can't imagine not using them now. But especially some of your rooms, depending on where they are, you could be traffic window, you could be construction window, you could have loud neighbors, you could have a roommate, because sometimes you're not in your room by yourself, that likes to watch TV to go to sleep, and you're a person that likes peace and quiet to go to sleep. Earplugs. Um, I'm guessing you're the watch the TV to go to sleep person?
No, when I'm
No?
ready to sleep, I turn everything off and I want it as dark as possible.
Okay.
And
I
I
also
also
have started sleeping with a sleep mask, but that's because I go to bed at 4 o'clock in the morning.
oh gosh.
So I've started sleeping with a sleep mask. So you might, if that's you might want to do that too. The only other two things I have on my list was make sure that when you do your budget, that you budget the ability, if you can, eating out a couple of times with the people that you meet.
Yes.
Because, okay, so introvert here, I hardly ever, never will go out to dinner with random people that I just met at the conference. I don't. I just don't. I eat by myself. I'm okay with that. However, if there are people there that I know, like when Audrey and I meet up, I will go to dinner with Audrey at least once. Now, we are both introverts. However, she's the introvert that will actually go out with other people at a conference. Okay. So she'll go out and I'm like, just save me one night. I just need one night. So she'll do her thing. She has she budgets out more for her going out with people than I do. Okay. Now, yes, I am going out every night, but I'm going out by myself, which means I get to pick where I'm eating. And sometimes when you're going out with people, they all want to do this. And you're going, yes, let's do that. So make sure you budget for that. And then the other thing that I always bring is, you know what? You want to look cute and everything, but you're sitting in a conference all day long. You need to wear comfortable clothes and wear comfortable shoes, because you're not only just sitting all day long, you are walking to every different location for for every class that you're taking. And then when you go out to dinner with people, you're probably walking there.
Yeah.
So there are cute, comfortable shoes to buy for those of you that dress for cute and not comfort. I am 40 years old, and I could not tell you the last time I dressed for cute. Oh, I can. My 40th birthday, I had lost a bunch of weight, and I had a specific dress, specific outfit I wanted to wear, and I dressed because that's what I wanted to wear for that day. But that's it. I don't have the cute whatever because I want to be comfortable. If you're the cute person, even if you're the comfortable person, just remember a lot of walking, a lot of sitting. You don't want to be adjusting your clothes the whole day because the way you have to sit all day long. And then you don't want to be hobbling back to your room at the end of the day because you did not wear comfortable shoes.
Exactly.
So dress for comfort. Yes, you can take a couple of cute outfits for the saucy ladies that go to the saucy show at the end of the night. That's different, but I'm talking about conference time, wear comfy clothes, comfy shoes. And that's all I had on my list of what to take.
Okay. So those are some that's just our list. And of course, you're going to have things. And please share in the comments or on our community board things that you always take or anything we might have missed that would be good for other readers or writers to take to conferences. Before we close, there are 3 things I had for what not to do at a conference. Of course, number 1 would be do not stalk your favorite author. Don't stalk. Don't mess around. Don't get arrested at a conference or just be creepy. Don't do that. We were joking before, but that's not a good thing to do. Don't
No.
ask a writer how much they make or who's your editor. How much do you spend on blank? If an author wants to share that information, they will have shared it in a class or a conference, or they will offer it. They will volunteer it. Don't ask, how much do you make? It's just, in my experience, that's considered uncouth. Don't do that. And then don't overcommit your body and your health and your fatigue levels. If you need to, as I often do, if I'm doing, like Amy said, going out with people after the conference, sometimes I will have snuck back to the room and just laid down and missed some sessions because either they were going to be recorded and I knew that, or I couldn't do it anymore. I could not do peopling anymore. And there were nights, the first night at the last conference, last 20 books to 50K, I got there and Amy and I got there. We're there on the same night. And I never plan to do anything on the night I arrive because traveling exhausts me. It's stressful for me just to get to the airport.
And I'd already been there like a day or two.
Oh, that's right. And by the time I get there, I'm just like, so I plan to I'm going to have some sushi in my room and I'm not going to look at people. I'm not going to make any eye contact. And I saw you in the lobby. And you're like, oh, no.
We literally passed in the hall, in the lobby. I was like, enjoy your sushi. And I was on my way to get dinner. Like I didn't even say, oh, I'll eat with you. Nope. We were both,
Yeah.
I'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. And then by tomorrow, the next day I was like, hi, how you doing?
Yeah.
But so don't overcommit. Think about your time and your well-being. And if you're an introvert, you're going to need some decompression time. If you're an extrovert, and I don't know what you people do, whatever you do for energy.
They sleep when they get home.
They
sleep when they get home.
I don't know. So those are just some tips there. We'll put some other tips in our show notes. And if you guys have any tips, please share those and we'll get those up as well.
I wanted to add 2 things.
Mm-hmm.
So I also put on my list, but the way I worded it a little differently. I said, don't think you'll have time to do other stuff.
Yeah.
You're not going to have time to do your normal things. So plan it as a week that you have off from normal things, if possible. Now, I know some people, the only way they get to come is because they do plan just look at your schedule and be realistic.
Yes.
Okay. The other thing I said is don't get in your own way. Do what you want to do. Don't talk yourself out of it. I went to one dinner with someone that I didn't know, and it ended up being the catalyst for me finishing my book that I wrote the end on 2 weeks ago. So Sometimes stepping out of your own comfort zone is the way to go. And I went because Audrea told the person they would have dinner with them, and then she needed people to go with her. So
Thank you, by the way, for doing that, because
fabulous. I'm so excited. I'm so glad that happened. And it was because we both went to a thing afterwards, which I never do. We went to a thing afterwards and the class, we took a class, we were in the same class, and they said, look at the person next to you and basically make plans with them. And I did not. I made notes in my notebook. She did. And then after the class, she's, wait, what are you doing for dinner? Because we're going to dinner with this person. And it was fabulous. I'm so glad. So don't stay out of your own way.
Mhm.
You're there to learn. You're there to possibly build friendships and make relationships. Maybe not, but you're there to learn. Use this as a platform. You don't want to get home and be like, I should have done. Okay. The only other thing I wrote down is please make sure that you remember to look at the schedule ahead of time. You know what classes you want to go to. The worst thing is the morning of to quickly look at a schedule, go to a class, and then at the end of the day, find out there was a different class that you would have gone to if you had paid attention to the schedule. So make sure you take time ahead of time. Don't forget to look at the schedule, make plans. And if it's a schedule that some classes are being recorded and some aren't, maybe go to the one that isn't being recorded and then do the class that was recorded when you get home. And that's all I have. I'm done.
Now, I have one more thing based on your.
No, we're done.
No, we can't be done.
What would you like to add, Audrea?
I just want to add, based on your reading the schedule ahead of time and wishing you or going to sessions, I set an intention. I usually set an intention for something I want to learn. There's something, I want to learn this thing. And it's either going to be in a class or in a conversation with another person, or somehow I'm going to pick up this information. I set an intention for what I intend to learn or how I intend to grow from coming from this conference. And that will usually help you feel like you've gotten something out of this conference. If you have one or maybe 1 to 3 of those things that you want to check off, I learned this, or I've got this. The very first conference I went to, because I am super introverted, and normally when they say, look at the person next to you and make plans with them or talk to them about being a brainstorming partner, or whatever it is, I usually go, oh, look, it's my doctor is on. I have to go, or make notes.
Now it's time to pack up. We're done.
Go.
Right?
I just don't look at me. But that time he was very friendly and he wanted to help, and he was super helpful. And we've talked about that before. The other thing I was going to say about that is I set an intention the very first time I went to a conference, I will meet a new writing friend. Because I knew, because being me, I'd been to other things before for work. I knew I would go and learn all of this stuff and not know anyone who had been there before. I would never have had any conversation beyond, can you pass me the sweet and low? I can't. It just so that was the only connection I would have made if I had not set an intention to meet one person. And the next time I said, I'm going to talk to 2 people in this genre. And so that's how some of this stuff has happened for an introvert like me.
Yeah, I think this last one I came away off the top of my head, I can think of 5 writing friends that I came away with that we've connected on Facebook. 2 of us have actually had a conversation on Facebook because we don't live anywhere near each other. 2 of them are in another country. But the other thing I thought would be so fun. Okay, if anybody from a conference that organizes these things or is going to teach a class, this is what you should do. You should set up the room so that the rows of seats are an extrovert, introvert, extrovert, introvert, extrovert, introvert, so that they have to talk to each other. The introvert can't get away with it because the extrovert's going to be sitting right there going, okay, so
don't do that. If you're an organizer of conferences, do not do that. Do not do.
The problem with that is if your introverts found out, your room would be only extroverts.
It would be empty. Yes. And yes, they would never come back because.
But I would like to say thank you to Chris. I have to assume that he is an extrovert.
Yes.
So I have to say thank you to Chris for talking to Audrea so that we all had to go dinner together and I was able to finish my book. So thank you, Chris.
All right. That is it.
I'm done anyway.
Thank you all like I said, we'll leave some notes and checklists in our feed. And if you have suggestions to add, please do that in our comments or in the YouTube community. That would be a great place to leave those, and we'll just update as we go along. And if you see either of us at a conference, wave from a distance.
I was gonna say, don't say hi.
I don't know why that even came out of my mouth. Like or
That's what you were
subscribe.
gonna say. I thought you were gonna say, if you see us at a distance, don't say anything. Leave us alone.
Oh my
But
gosh.
no, if you see us at a conference, please come up and say hi. We'd love to meet you in real life. Like, you found this and you're like,
Yes.
yeah,
If
we're
you
cool. Yeah.
yeah, if you enjoyed this, please.
See, and this is the thing. I don't want to walk up to the person, but I love when people walk up to me.
Oh.
But I want to be invited to the party. I just don't want to go to the party.
Yes,
Like,
exactly.
I want to know that you want me there. I just don't want to show up. Like, so I don't want to walk up to you, but if you see me and you want to walk up to me, oh, please do. I've got 50 gazillion chairs around me. And once you come to me, then I feel like I'm accepted and I'm not going to be like rejected. So yes, please come to me. I will talk to you if you come to me. I'm not coming to you.
Okay. Now that we've made that clear,
I'm not doing it.
like and subscribe and check you out next time. Bye.